Alright, so I've been away for a bit over a week. I've started back in on this. I mentioned in my bench update, if you watch or you see that before this, that the week off doesn't really help myself. It's sort of, I lose the momentum I had going with it before I left. I sort of holiday mode, so it's taking me a bit to get back into it. Some areas are just like the decals. I had a few issues with the marines ones on the side because they're going over a lot of raised detail on the side there. I don't know if that's a tail fold on that particular helicopter or what, but there's a lot of raised detail there. I had some issue, and I don't think it's the decals. I think it's just myself. Like I mentioned, I sort of lost a bit of mojo, I think. But anyway, from when we last saw it, I've got the high vis orange on, or day glow. As mentioned, the decals I had a few issues with, but I don't necessarily think they're bad decals. I think it was more myself. Anyway, they're on now, and it's really made it pop. So that monotone scheme, you know, you got the day glow and the markings on it sort of livened it up a heap. I find the stars and bars it's a bit too much from, but obviously that's how it was. But the one on the roof, I don't really know why they'd want that, but it's there anyway. One on the underside and the sides would suffice, but that's how it was. The control or the stabilizers for the rear, like I mentioned, I painted them the green. Had to come back and paint them again. Painted in, so the front panel there, the day glow, and I've painted in, I hand painted in the metal parts, so exhaust and that part on the engine, the cells. For this orange, I used MRP International Orange. The colour call out in the instructions is for fluorescent, I think. Oh, that'll work, but I think it's more, I consider this more of a day glow colour, although it's probably not, maybe lacking a bit how bright that is, but I dulled it or faded it by adding yellow anyway, just to go with the how I did the green paint work. So pretty much now I'm ready to give that a wash, because again I have to do all this separate because it's not gonna, I can't get at things with that in. So I give these a wash separately. I'll just be using the Flory dark dirt on this for speed. Now I just really want to try and push on and get this done. I'm starting to get a bit over it. So what I'll do is, yeah, give it a wash. The rotors, the blades, I'll do a lighter wash because the dark dirt won't show up. So I'll either, I might mix something up. I've got some different ones there from Flory. There's a grime and there's a white. I might mix them up just to highlight that panel line on the rotor blade. And then once that's done, the wash is done, I can start putting these on, but it's going to be, I can see I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, because not so much getting them in's all right, but it's whether once they're in, everything's level across. I feel that it's going to give me issues, but we'll see. Then once that's on, and then I come in, I've got to start doing all these tiny grab handles. We got windscreen wipers as well. There's a couple of big, I don't know if they're anti-static discharges or static discharges, sorry, that go on the sides. I'm not sure if that's what they are, or there's some sort of antenna, but there's one each side. They're a bit bigger. yeah, they're so small. I was actually contemplating not even putting them on, and I think they're too small. I probably could if you went with lead wire, but you'd have to use a really small diameter lead wire, and yeah, I might be doing that now. I'm sort of, like I mentioned, I just want to push on and get it done. I'm hoping I don't need all them because that's just insane. But there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 there. Windscreen, and then you got the windscreen wipers, and there's another 6, so that's 14. So maybe it is all of them. Pretty much, I think. And then there's some different handles that go on a door. I still got to do the tail wheel, paint that up. And actually, I've missed something here. Where's my tail rotor? Oh yeah, I've missed this. These small pieces should go on here somehow. How's that supposed to look? I'll have to have a look at that, and then I'm going to have to paint them in again. So yeah, tail wheel, and once the nacelles are glued in, so also when they're, obviously when I glue these in, that's going to make a mess around here again, and probably going to need some putty, perhaps, yeah. So I'm going to have to putty and paint that in again. That's just pretty, you can't avoid it unless you want to try and paint it like that. That's just not for me. That way you're going to create vortexes when you're airbrushing, and you won't be able to get everywhere and just be a nightmare. So it's easier this way to touch it up. I'm just going to need to be careful with those decals up the top. Yeah, and then we'll finally be just about complete. So yeah, so I'm going to do the wash. Plus, yeah, and the other thing is still got to do the windows. That'll be just about the last step because I can't do that yet while I'm doing washes and etc. Okay, you can see shiny patches there. I've just finished putting a clear coat on after touching up the green from putting on the nacelle and the pylon wing section. That was a real fun thing to do. Not really. When you put them in, they want to sit up. So what I did was put around extra thin around the join, and I put weight on each one to get them to sit flush, level. I did that yesterday afternoon, and I'll let it sit overnight so it'll dry properly. I just used fishing sinkers, lead weight on each one, but I wrapped them in paper towel so I wouldn't scratch the paint, even though I had to touch it in anyway, and just to get them level so they weren't sitting up. And then the fun bit of touching it all up and cleaning it up, so when that's dry, I need to start. I'm still not sure how I'm going to approach the end here, all these tiny handle bits. I'll paint them on this sprue fret, but being brass, when I take them off, paint's going to chip away, scratch away. I'm still not sure how many. I'm going to give them a go and see how it's going. They're giving me too much grief. I'm not putting them all on. I'll just settle for what I can do. And I haven't worked out yet. I'm going to do these and then put on all the other parts. I'll put on the other parts and do these last, because it's once I start putting all these on, these tiny handles, I'll be limited to where I can pick the model up. Yeah, so we'll see how I go. So I'm painting the wheels. They're just about done painting the wheels up. I'm going to put them on as well and see how it sits. That's the moment of truth. But other than that, then yeah, and then I got to do the windows, which is another thing. Do I do that last, or depends how I approach that as well, whether I want to give it another clear coat. Because I'll probably give this one a flat coat. So yeah, what I think I'll do is I'm going to try a couple of these, see how much grief they cause me, and then decide from there whether I keep going with them or do all the other parts. Either way, this will be the last little update of my build. Next time we come back, it'll be completed and I'll have a final thoughts about the model. And there she is, all done. So I ended up, those little photo etch grab handles, I put some of them on but not all. They're extremely fiddly, and I put them on so that I may still pick up, that's a loose fit, the rotor head, I can take that off when I'm transporting it, and I can pick it up at the top safely without knocking anything off. So when I think back to when I started this, I said I don't feel like doing another big helicopter, which I was going to do the TACM Apache in the Israeli scheme. In hindsight, it probably would have been about similar build time due to the new tooling and it'll have better fitting parts, etc. But I'm really happy I built this. I love this helicopter. It's just ungainly to look at. It doesn't even look like it should fly, a big awkward looking thing, but I just love it. I love early helicopters. This is one I've mentioned before. I sell most of my kits, but I'll probably keep this one. I really love the look of the chopper, and it'll go with my, I've got a 1/72 artillery H21 flying banana. That's one of my most favourite builds, so this one I think would probably be up there with it. If you've ever done a limited run kit, you'll probably agree that you get more satisfaction out of the build when it's completed, that you know it was difficult but you knocked it into shape and it didn't beat you. You finished the job. I'm happy with how I replaced the engine covers, even though it would have been better with the front ones as well, but as I mentioned, that was beyond my ability to reshape that section. and I just left it as is, but I think what I did is definitely an improvement over the pieces that were in the kit. They were pretty poorly moulded. I mentioned about lining up the landing gear, and it didn't go too bad. Actually, it was pretty much just about spot on, really. When I put the nacelles on, I sat it on a piece of foam along the belly so that to let it dry, and I measured each side and they were even, so that worked out better than what I thought was going to happen. It would be great if someone tooled this kit in 148. That would be awesome. Be a huge model, but I don't see that ever happening. I don't think the subject matter is probably popular enough to warrant that, but you can always live in hope, I suppose. So I'm going to take some still photos now of it. Hopefully, if you are going to tackle this kit, I've shown you what to look out for and maybe some little things you can improve along the way. For when I was building it, for reference, I'd looked up the actual helicopter and I'd look up builds, but I think I found one, maybe two, so I don't think it's like I said, it's probably not a popular subject, so it probably doesn't get modelled much, but I just love the final result. Looks awesome. Alright, I'm going to add some still photos. Thanks for watching the build.